just stayed in the reunion mode, relishing their time together again. They are one of the closest families I've ever known. Smitty and Louise continue to be as amazing as ever. Though they are among the most senior of the traditionalist generation, they are always a charming couple, blending smoothly with the 4 generations that cycle through their home and social lives. As you listen to this inspiring story, you will see that the strong adjectives I used here to describe Smitty and Louise fall short. Their life story may seem beyond imagination, but I know them well, and I have seen it firsthand. It's real. Moreover, the way they have bounced back from suffering and sacrifice can be an inspiration to today's weak culture. Their lessons of character, courage, and commitment could rescue and restore our nation. I'm inspired by their example, and I believe you will be as well. They are my role models, and I hope you will let them be yours, too. Colonel Lee Ellis, retired, former POW. Chapter 1. Carlyle Smitty Harris. April 4th, 1965, 11 a.m. In one split second, I passed from the known to the unknown, from a comfortable, safe, and ordered life into a hostile environment filled with danger and trauma. When I ejected from my crippled airplane, I had no thoughts of what lay ahead. I was too busy trying to survive the crash. It was a spontaneous act of desperation, conditioned by years of emergency training, that would give me some chance for survival. I had trained for this. I knew exactly what to do and what would happen. My seat would fly off with great velocity and force, just after the glass canopy of the plane flew hundreds of feet up in the air. My mind and my emotions were on autopilot as I went through the motions. In my frantic efforts to keep my F-105 flying, I had waited until the last moment to radio my squadron mates that I was ejecting. As a result, my left hand was still on the mic button when I pulled the trigger that would catapult me from my burning and lifeless craft. As my parachute snapped open, I felt a sharp, searing pain in my left shoulder. I had not placed my arm on the armrest that would prevent it from flailing in the wind blast when my body was hurled into space. For a moment I thought I was blinded, but I reached up to my face and found that my oxygen mask had slipped up over my eyes. Pulling it down, I saw my F-105 as it struck the ground and burst into a huge ball of fire. Looking up, my parachute was beautiful. There was absolute silence and serenity as I floated noiselessly earthward. What a contrast from the screaming, frantic scene moments before. Suddenly my mind raced to my predicament. I must have been briefly mesmerized or possibly in shock. A Vietnamese village was directly below me, and I could see people running around. It finally sank in. I was in enemy country and would probably be there a long time. There were no trees or other cover in the area, just open rice paddies and the village. My chances for evasion were nil. I reached up and grabbed my parachute risers with my right hand, and was successful in slipping my chute sideways so I would float away from the village. I landed less than 100 yards from the thatched roof huts, and immediately tried to open my survival kit to get my emergency radio so I could alert my friends that I was safely on the ground. My left arm was limp and useless, which made it very difficult to open the emergency kit. Before I could get to the radio, loud, angry voices were yelling at me. Villagers had already surrounded me and were closing in. I saw a few rifles, but most had sticks and hoes. Many of the men seemed almost as frightened of me as I was of them. As I looked around, the men in my line of sight would duck down behind a small levee or clump of grass, as if I could harm them with my stare. However, the circle of men tightened, and a few brave ones finally rushed me and knocked me to the ground. I was armed with a snub-nose .38 revolver strapped to my chest, but it had not even occurred to me to try to fight my way out of these impossible odds.